Hello, it's Tuesday, September 15th, and the editorial boards for the News Tribune, the Times, and Bureau County Republican are meeting with Travis Breeden, a Republican from Utica who is challenging State Representative Lance Yadnock for his seat in the State House. The 76th district includes LaSalle, Bureau, Putnam, and Livingston counties. Travis, maybe start a little bit this morning by telling us a little bit about yourself and what inspired you to run for office.
Okay. Well, my name's Travis Breeden. I've been a lifelong resident here in Utica. I am a union member of Teamsters Local 710, and the reason why I'm running is because I'm sick of the politicians running our state in the ground. They keep raising our taxes. Last year alone, we had 50,000 people leave the state of Illinois. Lots of businesses have, left the state of Illinois. We had the highest combination of, state and local taxes. We got the highest property taxes in the country. When we have such high property taxes, it hurts everybody's, value of their homes.
Now, I mean,
okay, sorry. So anyways, like I said, I'm sick of, seeing what's going on down in Springfield. Almost a lot of constituents I've, been talking to, they feel the same way as I do. And, I want to go down to Springfield, to be a voice for the people of the 76th district. I'm going to be an advocate for reform. Lower taxes. We need pension reform, and and I do know that I have a steep learning curve to learn about everything because I'm just a normal guy, running for this seat, and I'm not going to know every single thing until I get down there to Springfield.
Yeah. And I mean, speaking about taxes, Governor Pritzker proposed the fair tax plan. What are your thoughts on the fair tax amendment?
There's nothing fair about it at all. You can't go after, pick winners and losers, saying that, people, in a certain, income tax bracket is going to be taxed more than others. Because a lot of those people are, small business owners. And it's gonna hurt the small business owners. If you already look at the high tax, the people in the higher tax bracket, they pay the majority of our taxes in our state to begin with, and those people have the means to move out of the state of Illinois. We're gonna lose tax revenue from them, and because we're gonna lose our constitutional guarantee of a flat tax. And once Springfield realizes they're not going to be getting the tax revenue that they're expecting, they're going to end up raising taxes on everybody.
Yeah, and if that tax proposal fails, what solutions would you bring to the table to help balance the budget?
Help balance budget. Biggest thing is we need pension reform. We're 25% of the budget this year went to the pension fund, and so we're spending 25 cents out of every dollar for pension reform, or to the pension fund. That's ridiculous. I mean, normal people, they're saving for their retirement. They're not saving 25% of their income because they can't afford it. We need to make Illinois more business friendly. So we bring these businesses back to Illinois, keep citizens from moving, because we're just, we're going to lose our tax revenue or tax base. And the only thing they're going to be able to do to keep the same amount of revenue coming in is by raising taxes.
Goldie, if you have a question.
Switching topics here, state lawmakers from both parties have called for Madigan to immediately resign his positions as House Speaker and the chairman of the Democratic Party of Illinois following the ComEd scandal. Do you believe it's time for Mike Madigan to step down?
Definitely. It is definitely time for Madigan to step down. He's had too much control in this state. Even before this even came out, I knew how corrupt Madigan is. Everybody's known it. And, and I'm happy that there's been a number of Democrats stepping up and, asking Madigan to step down. Unlike my opponent, he's been completely silent on it. He won't ask Madigan to step down. But when you're getting $500 million plus from Michael Madigan, he's not going to speak out against him.
In 2017, Madigan became the longest-serving leader of a legislative body in the U.S. history. The ComEd bribery scandal has revived talks of term limits. What is your position on term limits?
We need term limits. People stay down there too long. They become too powerful. I'm even willing to make a pledge to the residents of the 76th district that I will not vote for, Speaker Madigan to be Speaker of the House. And I will also vote no on, Leader Durkin being a minority leader, because, Durkin has been the minority leader for years. And if we're going to try to promote term limits, I think by me voting no for Leader Durkin to be leader again, I think that's a really good example or a good start.
And are you in favor of term limits for lawmakers too, for state reps and senators?
Yes, I am.
Okay. And switching gears a little bit here too is how would you rate the state of Illinois' response to COVID-19? Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. I was just going to say, what, if anything, should be done differently?
Yeah, for my job, I travel across, the United States. I've been to states where, they've had maybe, like a soft lockdown. By creating this hard lockdown in the state of Illinois, at the beginning, it hurt businesses. When you have a small business owner that, sells clothing, and that's how they make their money, why is it fair for that small business to have to close their doors, and why people can go to Walmart and buy their clothes? It was very unfair what was going on in this state. We're basically picking your winners and your losers.
Do you support mask wearing?
I think everybody has individual right to do what they want to do. I wear masks when I have to, but to me, the most important thing is keeping your distance from people, cleaning your hands. Like I said earlier, I've traveled across this country ever since this has started, and I haven't caught it yet. I personally haven't known anybody to catch it yet. Where I work at, we have 15,000 employees in that building, and last I heard, we've only had 9 confirmed cases among those 15,000 employees.
How would you grade Governor Pritzker's performance?
I give him a big F. He's and I would even say the same thing about ex-Governor Bronner. They're using their billions of dollars they have just to buy the governor's seat. He's spent $51.5 million to push his progressive and fair tax through, on ads, and he signed an unbalanced budget. They keep raising our taxes. They keep spending more and more, and they're not doing anything for any type of reform in this state.
Well, what can state lawmakers do to reduce the tax burden on residents?
biggest thing, like I said earlier, pension reform, because I want to, something's finally going to come to a head. I mean, I, I know union people that have, lost their pensions, or, they're getting pennies on the dollars now. And I want, the state workers to keep their pensions that they've earned, but there needs to be a limit on it, because I don't want them to end up only getting pennies on the dollars. Deregulation for businesses, so businesses can prosper. When businesses prosper, they end up, creating more tax revenue. And I think we need to go, look at the different departments, state departments, and look at their budgets and see, what can be cut. For example, here in Lake South County, the different departments, circuit clerk's department, state's attorney's department, they found ways to cut their budget and save the taxpayers money, and we do the same thing down in Springfield.
How would you rate how legalized marijuana has gone for the state?
I don't pay much attention to marijuana. I mean, I'm not a marijuana user myself, but people should be able to have the freedom if they want to do that. They should have the right to be able to do that. My biggest thing was I don't think we should have looked at it as tax revenue, because because they're not controlling their spending. They're just finding different ways to different things to legalize and a tax. So I was really against the tax issue of it. But people want to do it, they can do it.
Do you believe the state parks, such as Starved Rock, should have a fee that would help maintain them? Why or why not? And should another alternative be sought?
Yeah, I don't have a problem, charging, out of area residents to come visit our parks. I know when I was a child, I went to a park over in Indiana, and there was a fee to enter the park. You looked how many more people are visiting our local state parks than there was, 20 years ago. There's a lot more wear and tear on, on the parks, the trails. So the upkeep, is getting more expensive.
What would be a reasonable, is there a reasonable fee, or you had mentioned just charging out of area residents? Is that a key point?
I haven't really thought about what to charge them. So I can't answer that. Maybe $5 a car. I never really thought about that. What to charge them.
Being in the minority party, how would you work with the other side of the aisle to get legislation passed?
That's a good question. To me, I think that the Democrats have gotten, set in their ways. They, have gone way too far to the left. If it's something common sense that we both agree on, I think that's something we could pass. But you look at what the Democrats have done to the state for decades and decades. They've ruined our state. And, if you do, there's been a lot of good legislation that has been introduced by Republicans, reform in that. And, an unfortunate part is that, Madigan controls what bills get passed. And if he doesn't like your bill, he just gets stuck in a rules committee. And I think that definitely needs to be changed. There's something needs to be worked on with, how bills get, brought out on the floor instead of just going to rules committee and dying.
And what is your stance on gun control? Does Illinois need to change any of its gun laws, and in what ways?
We need less gun laws. That's, the own firearms. We need to get rid of the FOID card. There shouldn't be anything that prohibits law-abiding citizens from owning guns. I even believe in, not even having a concealed carry license because, I've been to other states where you don't have to have a concealed carry license. People get open carry and they don't have problems. The biggest thing to help the crime in this state is we need to make, gun offenders stay in jail longer. I mean, you look at Cook County. I mean, they're in Cook County. Tim Fox is just, letting gun offenders out. They don't even go to jail. They just, they get off scot-free. Once they get to jail, they need to serve a minimum time. Maybe, depending on the severity of it, 10, 20 years in jail, and not get out early.
In what ways would you represent the Illinois agriculture industry?
Let's see here. Well, I think one good thing, like Governor Honor did here a few years ago, he lifted the weight limits on the roads where, farmers were able to carry more of their commodity to the grain elevator, with less trips to the elevator. That saves them time. The only thing we can do on the river, because, the barges on the Illinois River carry a majority of the commodity down to New Orleans. So anything we can do, on the riverfront to help, get the, commodity down to New Orleans would be great. And also, lower the gas tax. Look at what, the farmers are paying more, for their diesel, because of the gas tax went up on them.
What are the key differences between you and your opponent?
That I stand for reform. I'm going to stand up against the corruption. I'm anti-tax. My opponent has voted for the 20 different tax and fees increases. I'll be going down to Springfield for everybody in the 76th district, not just for, a certain group of people, which he has, he's demonstrated, how he's, in my opinion, he's down there working for his employer, instead of working for everybody. I see his signs around saying that he's, for the working person, but, by increasing taxes and fees on everybody, that's not helping the working person. I want to go down there and fight for lower property taxes. I believe in a 1% property tax cap. Where Lance is on the property tax relief task force, and he voted against creating a subcommittee that's going to look into the conflict of interest of legislators, also being property tax appeal lawyers. If he cared about the cost, the high cost of property taxes here, he would have voted yes on creating that subcommittee.
So you believe property taxes should be handled on the state level at this point? Property taxes are typically a more local issue.
Well, yeah, but that may be, but you got to look at the funding that goes to the school districts from Springfield. If Springfield would fund the school districts more, on the local level, they can lower their property taxes. Remember when the lottery, was created, that was supposed to go to the school districts. I mean, where is that money from lottery went? From what I could see, it's not going to the school districts. It's I think it's going just into the general fund instead of going to the school districts.
And you had mentioned traveling to some other states earlier. How is Illinois more of a challenge? Because it does have such a dichotomy in the state of Chicago is a major metropolis, and then you have more rural areas, and then you have a rural manufacturing sector as well. I mean, how does that make Illinois more of a challenge than maybe some other states?
I don't know how it would really make it more of a challenge. I mean, go to different states. They have less of a population, and they have a better infrastructure than we do. Better roads. When it comes to road construction, I see like states of Montana, North Dakota, well, they'll actually tear out a 20-mile section of a road and completely rebuild the road. Unlike here, where a lot of the road construction jobs, it's just just a temporary repair. They don't completely fix the road. They just replace the first few inches or whatever how much it is of asphalt. And you look at it, it seems like every time you turn around, the same section of road's getting fixed.
And before we conclude our session today, and thank you for joining us, we want to give you an opportunity to share why people should vote for you.
Okay. Well, I'm born and raised in Utica. I've lived here my whole life. I know the people, and I think we all share the same values. I want to be an effective voice down in Springfield for the voters, the citizens of the 76th district. I'm going to stand up to corruption. They're going to on both sides of the aisle. Fight for lower taxes, bring jobs back to Illinois. And I think I'll be effective down in Springfield for the voters of the 76th district.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us.